Welcome back everyone to some more great culture wars here in EU4, and I've actually spent about 5 years in between episodes of camera because I kind of want to keep to a 10-year schedule. I think every episode should start 10 years after the last one, if that makes sense. And I had to rearrange a lot of my map modes here and a lot of other interruptions we've gotten last episode, so therefore I decided to speed up things a little bit. I just don't want the series to go on to, episode 80 or something like this, so we'll do things a little bit faster. But obviously I will let you know what happened, because we saw actually a lot of the peace deals from the 3 wars that we left off in the last episode, in between episodes. So I guess we'll start off with the Moroccan Jihad. That basically ended relatively boring. They took, we can't see it anymore because they already recorded, but they took like 3 provinces from the Aragonese, and that was it. Andalusia, Tunisia, Syria, none of them got anything. It was 3 provinces for Morocco, these 3. I mean, yeah, it's silk, but to be honest, I thought that was kind of weak. They could have gotten way more. They easily beat them, so that was a bit strange to see. Then we saw Burgundy obviously being successful. I mean, we knew that already, of course. I mean, they took 4 provinces from Normandy, including Paris, which is actually not as, impressive as you might think. They took that one because it was, it's a farmland. In fact, you know what? Wait, Champagne is in center of trade and Paris isn't? I never knew that, actually. They took 4 farmland provinces. That, I think, is kind of amazing. But Armor is actually far more important. Actually, no, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Alright, let's just regard this. They took these 4 provinces. Then, maybe a bit more important is the fact that Muscovy pieced out, and they took a huge swath of land from the Finnish. We can actually still see that. So, they took this one province that the Polish had before, and then they took like 1, 2, 3, 4... what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the Polish, 8 provinces from the Finnish. They did keep Latvia alone, and Latvia is still in a personal union under Finnish, but, obviously they sort of took half of Finland in this war. That is pretty impressive, and, that just cements the rule of the Muscovites in the east. They are undoubtedly the strongest great power in the east right now, and, they can just, feed on Karelia, they can take over Estonia, they can take more of the Sami and Ryazanians, which they really should, because they're missing out on not being able to colonize themselves. They're conquering stuff, but they have to core this all. If they were to just colonize all of this, which, usually is weak, provinces, or are weak provinces, but in this scenario, they're all worth just as much as any other province, 11 development. So if they just colonize all of this on their own, they can grow just twice as fast, really. So that's something they should definitely consider. Other than that, we had a sort of a family deal here between Hungary and Silesia. They're obviously the same family, as you remember, and Hungary has decided to actually sell a province to Silesia. I mean, their queen regent, I think they had a queen regent, she is an embezzler, so she's going to sell provinces to pay their debts. So at least this way, Zemplin stays in the family. I think that was a smart move on Hungary's part. Apparently, this is a new war that we'll have to check out. Hungary did go to war with Austria, and they took this one province. So Austria is now just left with Vienna, which is still a better deal than having this one province down here. But yeah, I think before I continue, we should probably quickly check out what's going on. Whoa! This is a huge deal. So obviously we have the Syrians retaking one of their lands in Indonesia. That was just, rebels that spawned. We've got Silesia reconquering Morava from the Czechs, which is that province down here. They should be, they are definitely going to be able to do that. The Czechs themselves actually won a war and took Sternberg from the Pomeranians, and the Pomeranians were also at war with the Danish, and they're now a vassal of the Danish. So there you are. Actually, you've got 51% Liberty Desire. That's interesting. But anyway, that's what happened. And then we now have this huge... We've got the Occitan, or Occitan. Was it Occitan? I think it was Occitan. I'm just going to go with Occitan. You obviously correct me if I'm wrong. We've got the Occitan crusade against the Egyptians who are being supported by Romanians, but for the most part, this is something they cannot do. You know what? Are you allies? Okay, you're just allies. For a moment, I thought you might be in a personal union as well, but the Neapolitans are simply allied to the Arcatans right there. And then, yeah, I've been I've been talking around this for such a long time. We've got the Franconian conquest of Coblentz. So it's Franconia and the Flemish, together with the Croatians and Prussians, the Romanians, versus the Wallonians, the Gascons, the Normans, the Norwegians and Saxons. So it's almost, seems like a German-Italian war, or southern Germany and Italy fighting, well, France. You would say France, but the biggest part of France, which is Burgundy, isn't even involved. So this seems to be heavily in favor of Franconia, Piedmontese, the Romanians and Croatians, especially with, Prussians and Flemish. Okay, so there's no way the Normans can win this. I mean, the Wallonians are not weak, but the Saxons are certainly not that powerful. And the Normans, as I said, they just lost this big war to the Burgundians. So, you know what, I think this is pretty clear. So it looks as if it's going to be the Wallonians who will have to give up a lot of their provinces. Yeah, these 4 provinces are probably going to go to the Franconians here. Now, I would mention that the Burgundians actually have an interest in joining this war if they can, because they have quite a few cores on the Franconians, and this is basically the only chance they've got now to take them. But you know what? I think the Burgundians are just happy to get the Piedmontese as an ally, because otherwise they're pretty alone in the world. I mean, well, they do have the Catalans. They are obviously probably joined by the Reformed religion, but for the most part, I think they're just happy that they're not as isolated anymore, and they don't want to jeopardize this by going to war with the Franconians right now. They'd rather, not get their cores back for a while, but at least stay alive, and that's a smart move. The Saxons are going heavily after the Flemish, who actually lost most of their, mainland European holdings. I mean, technically, Scandinavia is mainland Europe as well, but, it's a bit further away from their starting location. So this obviously is a Saxon core, but I doubt that they're going to get that back, simply because there's so many people pushing in from the south. The Silesians have pieced out. They took Moravia, and they took 3 provinces here as well. And I do believe that, where are the Czechs? I think they may have even given up some more lands to the I think they may have given back some lands to the Saxons as well, because they seem stronger. Maybe they have given this back? I'm not entirely sure about this, but I feel like the Czechs may have given some lands back here. Yeah, but in any case, Silesians have grown more powerful, and right now, there's actually the possibility of a, there was a possibility of a personal union, no longer the case, but that could have been the savior, in a sense, for the Silesians and Hungarians. If their family unites, they could still stand a chance against their neighbors, but if they're separate like this, they won't stand a chance. They're not even allied, so I don't think that's going to happen. But at least the Silesians now have the Franconians as their ally to the west, so the Muscovites will have a harder time to push in, if they even want to do that. We obviously don't know. The Sami are fighting the Ryazanians, which I think is kind of funny. They're fighting each other instead of the big enemy, the Muscovites there. They're just laughing. They're just laughing at them. There was, obviously, Syrians, I believe they have simply managed to reconquer. Yes, Sunda down here, not really a big surprise right there. And, yeah. So this big war is it over? No, it's still raging, but there's no one actually fighting in Wallonia. Why is that? Where are all your troops? I mean, there are few in Normandy besieging their lands. The Gascons have arrived to fight the Flemish. That is awfully strange. Okay, and there's a lot of fighting also going on in the Prussian lands, who are finally involved in some wars. Man, this is just... The Prussians, I mean, they're doing well. Obviously, there's so many cultures that are being defeated. The Prussians are still around, so, they're doing something right. But it's just weird to see them just not be at war at all, really. I mean, they held on to the lands, as I said. They took these two from the Polish, but they still haven't taken Danzig, which I think is very bad. They should really take this. And this is not, by the way, because I'm German. It's simply because they should have that. It would just look better. But, you know, anyway. So that's that. Let's check out if there's any progress. No, it's still just Ryazanians and Karelians fighting the Sami, obviously making progress there. I don't think that the Ryazanians are going to make enough progress in this one war to be able to stand against the Muscovites in another one. But I guess what they might think about is just connecting their lands, because they've got their new homelands, because they moved their capital here to Uskent. They have their homelands in Ryazanian Ural, and if they can just kind of take one province, really, they would connect this, and that would obviously make better for them, especially in dealing with rebels, if they have any. Although, for the most part, this should be all their culture and religion anyways. Actually, that's the institutions I'm looking at. So it's all, yeah, it's for the most part, it's Ryazanian, so they shouldn't actually have problems with rebels. But yeah, that's just, still something to consider. It's just always better if you can reach all parts of your country without having to rely on military axes from external forces. And they're actually, we see the Croatians being beaten back. Okay, they just got reinforcements at the end of this battle and turned the tide. Still, I'm actually sort of surprised how the Saxons managed to hold on to most of their country. I mean, they have some occupations here. The Flemish, I mean, I guess they're a little bit pissed off that their trade is under siege, but for the most part, their homelands are untouched. And they're, in fact, even at war with the Norwegians. Well, that's the same war. Interesting. So yeah, they're besieging them. They're gonna probably force them out of the war. I think this is, yeah, Kolberg and these two provinces are the only provinces the Norwegians have. So once their capital falls here, that should be the end of, them. And perhaps we even see the Flemish take some lands. But we'll have to see. I mean, maybe not. It could be that they're not too interested in that. Right. The war that we saw end was the Occitan, Holy War, or Crusade, as it was known. Now, I'm not entirely sure what they took. It's really, I mean, maybe they took these lands? It's possible. I'm actually not too sure what they took. I don't think, for the most part, that this is too important what they do here in India, because, I mean, the Egyptians are not going to win. Let's just say it like this. And the Occitans are by far the strongest power in the world, so I think that this was just, them grabbing some colonies. Obviously, colonization has mostly shifted to East Africa for one, and also East Asia and India, although India is also almost finished, basically. But yeah, so we've got the Chinese region and the Southeast Asia region left for colonization, and we see a heavy influx of English, despite the fact that the Syrians were here a long time ago. They haven't really, gotten a whole lot of colonization done. For the most part, the English have actually the strongest hold over China right now. Also, I've seen that finally, I mean, actually for a while, the Normans have been in Australia. They took Tasmania relatively early, but then they haven't kind of, not been interested in this, all that much. But now they have started to colonize a lot more, and we'll see a Norman colony here in Australia. I wonder if they're also going to go for New Zealand. If not, there is a potential for a second colonial nation. Anyway, let's go back to the wars in Europe. So Normandy basically all occupied, at least their starling heartlands. They still obviously are very strong here. This would technically be the right time for the Danish to go after their missing cores. I think they already lost a core here in Hamburg. So they gotta hurry. If they don't want to lose all of their cores, they should be really quick about this. Although then again, yeah, 70-45. Maybe they only had 3 cores? I'm pretty sure they had Hamburg as a core as well. I think they had these 4 cores and they haven't taken them. They should have really been doing that. But did we see a peace? No, there's no peace. There's still Koblenz, which is the war goal, is still not been taken. I'm not sure what the Franconians are doing. but it's certainly a bit strange to see them not really succeed in this war. The Prussians are not besieged, which is good for them. All of Norway has... But actually, what is going on? Norway is still in this war, but they somehow managed to free their capital, despite the Flemish having 50,000 men here. I'm not really sure what's going on there. This war seems a bit strange. There are troops all over the place. They're just not where they are supposed to be. So the Saxons peaced out. I suppose that makes sense. They didn't lose anything, particularly, so that's good for them. And the Gascons peaced out as well. So it's basically Wallonia and the Normans and Norwegians, who somehow, as I said, managed to regain control of their capital. Anyway, let's see how it goes then. It's -4. Well, that's, yeah, because you don't have the you don't have the war goal. You should be taking that easily enough. That's really weird. The Rosanians are winning their war, but they do not have the war goal. What's up with that? You should go for that first, but you know, that's fine. They will. I'm pretty sure that they will win eventually. Other than that, we've got the Syrians declaring a war together with the Crimean and Turkish buddies against their Shia brothers, so I guess they're Shia enemies, you could say. Here, what is this? The Syrian conquest of Grane. So I think this is about Arabia, for the most part, yeah. So they want these lands. Bulgaria's still duking it out here, but for the most part, this will then be Syrian. Grane is this province. Let me see how many claims you've got. Yeah, you've got quite a few. So I assume you will take that. You will probably also take Hormuz for yourself, because that is obviously an important. Can we please click on the province? This is obviously an important coastal center of trade, so this will strengthen your trade. Although, you know what? I don't think the Syrians need this. They are making enough money as is. They're one of the greatest powers in the world. Although actually, you know, they're just hanging around in number 8 here. A lot of this obviously has to do with their technology cost, but even still, you know, their development is not all that high compared to, you know, all the other nations. And that is because they have not a single subject. They have only their own personal development, and that is, you know, that's all the points they get, nothing else. And that hurts them quite a bit. Same goes for the Catalans, but they at least have been able to colonize fast enough. But yeah, so we do not see a peace here. So for some reason the Franconians are you know, having trouble taking over the Wallonian lands here. But I think now that the Normans have been pieced out, they still have got their alliances. I don't think they had to give up anything necessarily. No. So I think we can finally. Okay, so finally we're focusing on this. The Piedmontese are here. We see the Croatians arrived. The Franconians themselves. Okay, so I think Wallonia has now been broken. Let's quickly see if anyone else is still supporting the Norwegians. Ever faithful, still supporting them in this war. But yeah, I think this is going to come to an end very soon. The Arcatans declaring a crusade against Malacca. Malacca obviously being a nation that spawned in later in the game. That was actually not supposed to be there. The Greeks continue. Actually, not the... Wait. The Greeks declared this war together with their Turkish allies to take over Hungary. So that's going to be nice for them. In fact, you know what? I wonder... The Turks... nope, I messed that up. You are at war with the Serbians, Greeks, Turks, and Muscovites. Now, the Muscovites are probably not going to take anything, or they're not going to get anything. I mean, there's a potential there, but I think, for the most part, it's the Greeks who want these lands. That's what they can get. That's actually all they can get. The Serbs, they have at least a claim, so they might get that province. And then the rest is probably going to be lands given back to perhaps even Austria. Austria might even get a province back. It's possible. Just to weaken Hungary even further. And, you know, it's interesting to see the Turks, you know, they're in 2 wars right now, none of which they have declared themselves. They had a great time of conquests, but, you know, once they have been stopped by the Croatians and Romanians, they, you know, as I said, they just kind of lay low for a very long time. About 100 years, it seems, they have been laying low and not declared any wars of conquest, at least not of their own. I doubt they're going to get any provinces. I doubt they even have claims in fact. Alright, why does this not work? Why? I want to click on a country. There we are. They don't have any claims. So, yeah. But it's a bit... Oh my god. Just look at Hungary. Please. Why? They've got no chance. Why be so overkill? Even Ruthenia is in this war right now. Is this the same war? No, that's a different... I was just gonna say, this is a different war. So, Ruthenia is coming back for more. And, yeah. These are the wars we see here for the most part. So I think the next peace deal we'll see is going to be Franconia piecing out Wallonia here. And I really want to see how many lands they take. They've got 4 claims. I suppose that's all they take. Hey, wait, what the heck? Oh, you know what? So obviously Pomerania being a vassal of the Danish now, they get events where they can claim their cores back. And that's probably what's going to happen right here, or that is what happened right there. So, we now see Pomerania probably growing in this. This is not too good, because Denmark has already spent time coring these lands, you know, effort, I guess, time and effort, unrest they got from it, and the aggressive expansion. All of this kind of for naught, because now they've given it back to Pomerania, only to then, you know, reintegrate Pomerania. Now, I guess speaking of integration, how close are you to integrating the Dutch? Your diplomatic reputation is at -3. Why would that be? So you're at 90% and it's not going up any higher. Alright, well, so you were pretty close to finishing this, but now it doesn't look too good. Alright, so are we going to see peace deal here with Wallonia? I wish we could see one here at the end of this episode. They're still waiting. They're waiting for Norway, I suppose. Did the Flemish peace out? Oh, the Flemish peaced out. The Flemish peaced out and actually had to give up this one province. I think they may have given up this one province. I'm not too sure about that. But the Flemish peaced out. So, okay, what's this deal now? Are you guys ready? Come on. I want to see a peace. 88%. You should just say yes, honestly. Maybe this has to fall? That's a fortress. Alright, there we see the peace. Okay, so we saw 4 provinces taken. Yep, pretty much. 4 provinces taken, and... yep, the Flemish did get... nice. They got this province back, Antwerp, which is obviously a very important center of trade and a farmland province with 27 development. I think that was... pretty much it. Yeah, so the Wallonians very much reduced in size. Just a very tiny strip of land here. Interesting. Very interesting to say at least. Alright, so I guess on that note, I will end this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I think we saw some great wars, and I'm very much interested to see how this develops in the future, and we'll obviously keep an eye on the colonization. We now have Terra Australe, which is the Norman colony in Australia. But yeah, as I said, that was it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time.